All right, let's talk about the IIT JEE. It's not just another exam. It's a full-on marathon. So today, we're going to cut through all the noise and build one single comprehensive battle plan, pulling in the best advice from people who've actually been there and done it. So let's just dive right in. Look, trying to juggle your board exams and the JEE at the same time, it's a huge challenge, and it can overwhelm even the most dedicated students. Our goal here isn't to add to that pressure, but to give you a clear, actionable plan to slice right through it. So by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a solid framework. You'll know how to be a more strategic, a more resilient candidate, totally ready to tackle both of these challenges head on. Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, the first step in any battle is knowing the terrain. And for the JEE, that means you've got to understand the syllabus. But not just that, it's about pinpointing the highest value targets within it. This right here, this is your strategic map. We're talking a 5-year analysis showing which chapters consistently carry the most weight. You want to focus on mastering areas like 3D geometry, current electricity, and coordination compounds. Why? Because historically, just these topics can make up more than half of the questions. That's a huge deal. So the whole point is to use this data to work smarter, not just harder. Your very first move should be to completely master these high-weightage topics, especially the ones that overlap with your board syllabus. And remember, balance isn't about giving equal time to everything. No way. It's about strategically putting your most valuable resource, your time, where it's going to get you the biggest return. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The syllabus for these exams is absolutely massive. If you try to tackle it all at once, it's just a recipe for burnout. The only way to make it manageable is to break it down, Focus on one topic at a time. That's how you build a really deep, effective understanding of these complex ideas. Okay, so we've got our map. Now it's time to gear up. See, knowing what to study is only half the battle. Knowing how to study effectively, that's the other half. Let's get into the most powerful tools and techniques you can use. Now, a lot of you have probably heard of the Pomodoro technique, but are you really using it the right way? It's so much more than just a timer. It's a system designed to fight off mental fatigue. By forcing your brain into these short, intense sprints, followed by a real break, you actually maintain peak concentration for hours. It makes your study time way more productive. And this quote, this just perfectly captures the spirit of what we're talking about. It's not about logging hours for the sake of it. It's about making every single one of those hours count. One distraction-free 25-minute session is honestly more valuable than 2 hours of kind of half-focused reading. That's the real difference between just practice and perfect practice. Real learning, the kind that sticks, requires you to actively engage with the material. You got to move beyond just reading the textbook. When you summarize a concept in your own words, or you try to teach it out loud to an imaginary friend, or create a mind map, you're forcing your brain to process and connect that information on a much deeper level. This is how you build that rock-solid understanding you need for the JEE. Okay, previous year question papers are your secret weapon. Seriously, they're an absolute goldmine of information. They show you the exams pattern, the recurring themes, and they even give you a peek into the minds of the people setting the paper. As one IIT Bombay professor famously said, concepts never change, only problems do. Solving these papers helps you see exactly how those same core concepts get tested year after year. Okay, let's dive into something that might sound a little counterintuitive, but is absolutely critical to your prep. Rest. In this high-pressure world of JEE preparation, sleep is usually the first thing that gets sacrificed. And let me tell you, that is a huge mistake. The experts are crystal clear on this. JEE aspirants need between 6.5 and 8 hours of quality sleep every single night. This isn't wasted time. This is when your brain is actually working hard to consolidate what you've learned, strengthen your memories, and recharge for the next day of intense problem solving. Anything less than 6 hours, and you're just setting yourself up for fatigue and memory problems. So let's just bust the all-nighter myth once and for all. I mean, it might feel like you're being super dedicated, but pulling an all-nighter is actively working against you. It completely messes up your sleep cycle, it severely reduces your ability to remember information, and it hurts the very problem-solving skills you need for the exam. The reality is, consistent rest will always outperform last-minute cramming. And remember, the quality of your sleep matters just as much as the quantity. A consistent routine, going to bed and waking up at the same time, is your most powerful tool.
Simple habits like putting your phone away an hour before bed and keeping your study space separate from your sleep space can make a massive difference in how rested you actually feel. And finally, let's talk about the foundation that holds this entire strategy together, your mindset. Look, you can have the perfect plan, you can have the best techniques, but without the right mental approach, this whole journey can feel pretty much impossible. This diagram here makes such a crucial point about balance. The ideal state, that Jedi zone in the middle, is where your study, your sleep, and your social life all find a healthy sweet spot. You're not a machine pushing yourself into that zombie zone by sacrificing sleep or cutting off your friends. It's just not sustainable. Prioritizing your well-being isn't a weakness, it's actually a strategy for long-term success. Now, this slide right here visualizes one of the most powerful concepts you will ever come across, the 1.01 law. It shows the absolutely staggering difference between getting just 1% better every day versus getting 1% worse. Let's look at the actual numbers. This is the 1.01 law in action. That tiny extra 1% of effort compounded daily over a year leads to an almost 38 times improvement. 3,800%. But on the flip side, a 1% decline each day brings you almost to zero. So this isn't about some massive heroic effort. It's about small, consistent, daily steps that build up into something extraordinary. And hey, this isn't just some mathematical theory. AIR1 topper Arnav Singh credited his perfect score to one thing: regular hard work. It wasn't about being a genius or getting lucky. It was about the disciplined consistency of just putting in the effort day in and day out. And finally, just remember that setbacks, they're not just possible, they're a guaranteed part of this journey. You will fail to solve problems. You will score lower than you hoped on a mock test, and you will have days where you just feel like giving up. But as Michael Jordan reminds us, failure is the path to success. It's how you learn, how you adapt, and how you grow stronger. So the final question for you is, what's that one small 1% step you can take today to start building your own success?